Hi, everybody. It's Bob Ost. Welcome to the Friday TRU Community Gathering. Yes, we're still doing this. Something that was started originally in 2020 in April as a response to COVID and shutdown. I am aware. I do know that we're opening and we're leaving shutdown, or we seem to be leaving shutdown, or we may be leaving a shutdown, and we're not sure exactly what the actual wording should be yet. And yet, I have loved doing these Friday Zooms. I love it for many reasons. I love it for giving everybody who was just not knowing what to do with themselves because none of us expected. You never expect the Spanish Inquisition, right? You don't expect shutdown. So we didn't know what to do, and people told me that they would like to have a chance to meet on Fridays. We randomly picked Friday. We did pick Friday and talk about what they're up to. And it turned into a whole thing, and it became very popular. And I've got lots and lots of people who come every Friday and enjoy meeting with other theater professionals who have been going through shutdown. So as we're reopening, the question on many people's minds is, will TRU keep doing the Zoom room? And the answer is yes, because I think it's always healthy, and it's always interesting, and it's always inspiring for many people, not for everybody, but for many people, to be able to come to a room and hear how creative everyone else is being, and maybe even say something about what you yourself are up to. The other thing that happened due to Zoom, suddenly we're not New York centric. Suddenly we have a room full of people that are from Seattle, Georgia, Washington, California, Barcelona, Malaysia, Singapore, Australia. I'm not going to give that up. I love that. And here comes Alabama. Walter Robinson is coming into the room now. So we're going to keep doing this. The conversation may change a little, though. Now that we've covered everything you could possibly cover about producing on Zoom and doing Zoom readings and what to do in a shutdown so that you can stay creative and sane. We're now going to be talking a little bit more about the transition back into live performance and live events. I'm very happy to have become part of the Episcopal Actors Guild in the past couple months. I'm not sure exactly how it happened, but I was always aware of you guys, but I was inspired to join and to be a little bit more a part of you, and I'm very happy to be and very proud to be part of Episcopal Actors Guild now. I'm not Episcopal and I'm not an actor, but I'm a Jewish writer, and we're going to talk about what programs the Episcopal Actors Guild offers that are definitely for the performing community, but also they have other things that are very much of interest to the rest of us who don't necessarily what's the word, get on the stage, whatever. I can't. There's an expression that I should be able to use that sound really cool, but I can't think of it right now. So I'm going to bring Jamie and Rebecca into the room now, and welcome you to TRU. My community welcomes your community, and as we saw in the openings and the intros, there's a lot of crossover. So,
well, thank you for having us here today, Bob. And I can tell you at least how I know you through the Guild. You participated. Francisco did an event for us. I think it was in October of 2020 on Zoom, and you participated in that. And that was my first introduction to you through the Guild. And we're so glad you have become more involved over the past couple of months.
To the extent that I have 3 nanoseconds of free time every week, yeah.
Yeah, you know.
Thank you for giving them to us.
You're welcome. Hi, Jamie. So Rebecca and Jamie, introduce yourselves and let everybody know what it is. I can see that you're the assistant director, and Jamie, your charitable programs associate. Your frames give that away. But tell us a little bit more about the Episcopal Actors Guild and how you work with it, and what the programs are that you offer. Not all of that at once, though.
Well, I'll introduce myself and then let Jamie we're trying to split what we talk about today, so I'll turn some of it over to Jamie. I'm Rebecca Lovett. I am the Assistant Director of the Episcopal Actors Guild. Um, you may have walked past where we're located. We are on East 29th Street on the second floor of the Church of the Transfiguration, also known as the Little Church around the corner. It's the little church with the green roof and the pretty garden out front, not the big church on the corner of Fifth Avenue.
Oh, I know it well.
Yeah.
I live at 27th and 9th now, so
Oh, you're right there.
I
Your
can walk
neighbor.
right over.
Yeah. So since 1923, we've been providing emergency financial assistance to New York City's professional actors, singers, and dancers. And we are still doing it today, and we have tried to expand our programming a little bit to encompass more of the arts and entertainment community in New York City. And we'll talk a little bit about that this evening.
Okay.
Jamie?
Thank you.
Yeah. And hello, I'm Jamie Soltis, as you can see from my name tag. As the Charitable Programs Associate, I spend most of my time working with our clients, New York's actors, singers, and dancers. I joined the team, Rebecca, maybe 3 years ago and change.
I think so.
Primarily because I love the mission. Rebecca and I, and our executive director, Karen Lehman Foster, all have acting backgrounds, as well as our nonprofit backgrounds. So it's really easy to empathize with the ebbs and flows of any kind of artistic career. And so we try to be there, in the tougher times for our community. So as Rebecca said, we help with emergency financial assistance for our community of performers. And we also have a food pantry, so we try to help with food as much as possible too. And in general, we like to provide career support in ways of free workshops in career development or self-care and things like that. And all three of us on staff are always available to talk and lend an ear and advise when people are going through it. And of course, recommend other resources that our city has to offer as well.
Thank you. So let's start with the focus on actors, and then let's expand beyond that and talk about how other people, the rest of us, can become involved and benefit from what you offer. The other thing I'd like to weave into this is what does community mean to you? And I could talk a little bit about what it means to me too, because I think what I'd like to actually circle around to is the whole concept of creating a community, which I think we both do. All three of us do.
Well, for me, I don't think anything exemplifies community like theater does. Whenever any of us get started in it, we realize really quickly that every part of it is essential and everyone is a cog in the wheel. And being part of a community, I feel like, is important for you to figure out what your own strengths are so you can offer those to help. Hopefully, if you're lucky, your strengths are also your passion. So you like, doing what you're doing, and everything that you might not have inside yourself as far as strengths go, other people in your community are there to fill it in. And I like to think of life as that. We all need each other to have this whole thing work out. And theater is a really direct way to prove that, I think.
Yeah, I would agree with what Jamie is saying. When you discover theater, you discover your people. And I think all of us here have gone through that. And it is not just the actors, it's the playwrights, the directors, the stagehands, the carpenters, the electricians, everyone who makes theater happen. And I think so often Jamie and I were just talking about this earlier today, actually, you get really focused on the business aspect. And I think sometimes it's important to also recognize the community aspect where we can all get together and support each other and cheer each other on. I think that is vital to our community as well. And at the Guild, we try to sort of do both things. When one of the reasons the Guild exists is for almost 100 years now, there's been a group of people who've recognized what it takes to have a career in the performing arts, to make a living in the performing arts, and that it is not a straight line, and that you will have ups and downs. Contracts are short, gigs come and go, show might get canceled, you might get injured, and now you can't perform. And so the Guild was created to be a safety net for those people, to support, and it was actors, directors, writers, and members of the Episcopal Church, of the little church, who all really wanted to support the community, who came together to form the Guild. And so we've been around for a long time trying to be those cheerleaders, but also a support system. Sometimes that comes in the form of a financial grant. Sometimes it comes in the form of a class, or a space grant, or these days a book club. So yeah, we have a lot going on where we try to bring our community together and support each other.
So interestingly enough, TRU started off with a similar mission, but our mission was always focused on producers. So we're the producer version of what you do, except ironically, you're a much better funded version of this. We do what we can, but we don't have access to some of the things that you have access to. Whoever's been creating the opportunities, the development and funding for your group, and I was at your meeting last week, so I was astonished. You're an incredibly effective organization from the business point of view. You're very well run and very well funded and seemingly very stable. I mean,
it helps that we've been around for 100 years, I think. So,
well, I feel like we've been around for 100 years. It feels that way. But what we do, we started off focusing on the needs of producers, and we started off trying to create a support system. That I didn't aspire at first to anything more than that. We wanted to just offer a place for people to come and talk about producing and learn from each other. Over the years, we've been able to add educational programs to what we do. We've been able to. I decided to. I decided to add educational programs. And I always felt, well, I know people who know things, so I can always bring them in, and they can always talk to people and help people understand the business better. And then after a while of hearing all this myself, it's like, oh, I guess I kind of know it now too. We've expanded though. Originally, we were really producer focused. Now we've kind of broadened our focus so that we're really just business focused. We want actors to come in and understand the business so that they don't, and we want writers and directors to come in and understand the business so they don't sign contracts that they go, that producer just screwed me. It's like, no, you signed a contract that gave terms that you shouldn't have accepted. They didn't sue you. I mean, they didn't screw you. Yeah. Sue and screw kind of related, aren't they? Yeah. One side and the other side.
That's what I was about to say. Two sides of the same coin.
Yeah. So we've increased our communities as a response to COVID. I think the sense of community, once we started, honestly, to be honest, it just came down to offering things for free. More people were willing to come in and be part of what we do when it was free. Now that it's free, and now that it's been free, or pay what you can. Mm-hmm. So how did COVID, if it did at all, how did it affect what you do and what you offer?
Well, from the charitable programs side, we used to meet with our clients face-to-face, one-on-one, when they would apply for financial assistance. And then after we met with them, they could go to our food pantry, which is right on site for our offices. So when the pandemic hit and we started working from home, we moved our application online, offered to meet with people over Zoom since we couldn't do face-to-face anymore, and switched our pantry model to sending people gift cards to grocery stores instead. until now. We just kind of are starting to reopen again. So our on-site pantry is back in action, which is kind of lovely because, gift cards are easier, but now we get to see our clients in person again. They're welcome to take as much food from our pantry as they can carry. But we were
the only equivalent I can say is that we serve food at all of our meetings. That's it.
I'm there.
That's fantastic.
Yep.
But not on Zoom. We don't anymore.
I know, the saddest part.
Yeah.
But I would say, I don't know, Rebecca, I actually find that moving that side of what we do pretty easy.
We were able to, I think, like everyone, and like you say, you never expect the Spanish Inquisition. Nobody was planning for having to suddenly go remote for everything. But we did, I think it was March 12th or 13th, whatever that day was.
It was the 12th.
Thank you.
The day after my birthday, so I know it well.
Yes, we closed up our office. We had a very long day making sure we had everything we thought we would need for the 2 or 3 weeks that we would be home. And
4 weeks at most.
oh yeah. And so we were home, we had computers, we had printers, and we were able to pivot really quickly, and I feel like pretty efficiently, to our online application process. And we were having groceries delivered through Instacart within a week of being closed. So because we were so concerned about our community going hungry, that is something that people really don't talk about a lot, but there is a lot of hunger and food insecurity in New York as a whole, but especially within the professional performing arts, because it is a rocky career path to choose, and sometimes,
to say the least.
Yes. So sometimes you have to choose between paying the rent or buying groceries, and you make that decision. And so we want to take that calculus and here, let us help you with some food. And so we have a lot of seniors that we help. We have a lot of disabled people who were being told, do not leave home, you are at high risk. And a lot of people with young children at home who are performers. And so it was really difficult for all of those people to leave their homes. And so I'm really proud of how quickly we're able to pivot for the pantry, especially, and the need for the pantry was more than tripled over the pandemic. And we're really excited to be back in person, like Jamie was saying. We just
I have to tell you, I'm so impressed that you actually pivoted to Instacart and actually started delivering it. I don't know if I would have had the fourth site to actually do that. It was like I didn't know what to do when we closed. I had to solve the problem of how to do events on Zoom. And for me, Zoom was like Zoom? What's Zoom?
Yeah. I think it was for all of us.
I know.
But we've learned so much in the past year and a half. I feel like a Zoom native now, that I'm very comfortable on screen like this now.
Right.
Look at us.
I have to tell you, I had great hesitation about it because I'm a Pisces, so I'm very intuitive. So when I go into a room and when I'm leading discussions in a room, I get oh God, everybody's going to roll their eyes. I get vibes. I do. I mean, I get a sense of what the room is needing. I can tell when people are not understanding, and I can tell when I need to say to somebody, can you explain that to the room? And I didn't know how I would be able to do that on Zoom. I thought that the vibes only came live, but apparently they don't. Although it is actually harder to read a room on Zoom from that point of view, but it's not necessarily the be all and end all of doing effective programs for people. How do you feel about that? Do you have a sense of, as you run programs, the difference between doing it live and doing it on Zoom? Do you feel a difference?
I've been trying to, yes, short answer. I don't think I'll ever prefer Zoom, but I've been trying to become inspired by the the people that are really looking at Zoom as a brand new medium and not a comparison to theater or film even, and trying to learn, creative ways to utilize it. And that's just, I think, been really fun for a lot of people to use their creativity in that way. Like, how much can you do, like, with this camera, etc.
Right.
And like you were saying before, there are a lot of benefits to it, as in now we know people from all over the world that can attend our events. Go on, Rebecca. That's all I have to say.
Well, I'll continue with. You said it too, Bob. I mean, we have people. We have what we call Broadway Book Club. We read every 2 months. We meet. We've been meeting on Zoom. We read a novel that is somehow about the performing arts.
Okay, I wondered about that. What was the last book? Because I remember getting an email about it. What was the last book that you did?
The last one we did was Hamnet. Hamnet was last. We're reading Laura Lamont's Life in Pictures right now. We've read a wide variety, but we want fiction. We want some escapism, but it has to have some tie into the performing arts, whether it's theater or film or TV or the opera. We've read mystery novels. We've read, it's a lot of fun.
And you've established clearly that people don't have to be actors to be able to read a book, right?
You don't have to be an actor to read a book.
Okay.
And it's fun because now we have people all over the world who are logging on. It's still a very small, manageable in Zoom group. So everybody really can talk, and there is that sense of community. But we have a member of the book club who is a librarian in Canada. And she just stumbled upon us and thought maybe it was something like the BBC's book club and it would be a webinar and it would be really interesting to listen. But no, she logged on and it was a group of people really just talking about the book. And she's come to a couple of them now. We have a book club member in Spain who's a friend of a guild member who has been coming to them for a few months now. So it's been really nice to expand our horizons on Zoom and be able to reach people who are not in New York City proper, who are not even in state or in the country, for our Zoom fundraisers, for our classes, which are open to everyone. They're geared toward performing artists, but are open to anyone in the community who's interested in the topic. And those are free. We have yoga classes and Pilates classes
and again, people who aren't actors can actually do those.
You can totally do that.
I want to make sure that everybody in the room knows that.
Yes, everybody.
You can take advantage of your programs even if you're not an actor.
Yes,
the thespian.
Our charitable services are geared toward the performer. So actors, singers.
So you are thespo-centric.
Yes. So unfortunately, if you're a writer, producer, director, we won't be able to help you with a financial grant. But so much of the programming that's built around that core mission includes all of you. So please do check out our classes. Please do come to our events, our book club. We have a Artist Way group, which has a new name now, and I can't remember. Jamie, do you remember?
I don't remember, but it was a group that got together during the pandemic, right? Or maybe a little before.
It started before, but it really grew.
They do the Artist Way together, and just liked working together and meeting each week so much that they continue with other
Explain what the Artist's Way is. It's Julia. What's her name?
Oh yeah, what is her name? Juliet. I bet someone in the
Cameron.
Thank you. Cameron. Yes. It's almost like a lesson plan, right? I'm sure everyone in the audience wants to correct me. It's been a while since I've done it myself, where each week you go through different artist tasks to help you along your creative journey. I think you can have a goal at the end or not. It's just kind of to practice your creativity. And so this Artist Way group has continued to meet even after they complete the book with other books that are kind of geared towards creativity and self-care and things like that. I also wanted to mention, because it sounds like there are a lot of writers.
I was going to say, if you hadn't gotten to that, I was going to push you. Yes, writers.
Well,
there is an opportunity for writers.
There's, I'd say, quite a few. What I was first going to talk about, because this also came out of Zoom, granted, this thing I'm going to talk about is called Actors Night, but it is a monthly free for members group that gets together to like work on any monologues or scenes that they want to practice. But it turned out that there were a lot of people writing their own work in that group. So they have begun doing play readings of their own work at Actors Night. So now, after everyone is done rehearsing what they want to rehearse, they'll do play readings on Zoom. Well, now we're back in real life for Actors Night, but it was born out of Zoom that they were like, oh, well, we have all these actors here. Do you mind just like taking a part? I want to hear my play out loud. And now that's become a part of Actors Night, I think. Other opportunities for writers. Rebecca, do you want to talk about open stage maybe?
Yeah, and I want to backtrack really quickly for those of you who are not as familiar with the Guild. We have members. It's only $45 a year for a professional in the performing arts to join.
Oh, good. I can tell my board now that there's somebody that charges less than we do for a year membership.
We do. It's very reasonable, and it is open to anyone who wants to support and celebrate what it takes to have a life as a performing artist. So anyone who wants to join is welcome to join. And the Actors Night is a really great, one of the perks for joining is you can attend that Actors Night. As far as writers, we have a couple of opportunities, and we will start looking for partnering companies and for grantees for this in early 2022. We have the Open Stage Space Grant, which we have been doing, I think 2018 was our first year, maybe 2017. I'd have to look back. We have a lovely little theater space that is our office, and when we are not doing our own thing or renting it out to people, it just sits there, and we wanted to share our space with our community because we know how hard it is. And I think it's going to be even more so post-pandemic when so many of the small theaters seem to have closed.
A few specifics. Excuse me. Is it a theater with a stage? Is it a black box? How many does it seat?
It is a unique space. It's a proscenium setup. We are located, I see, where is the Episcopal Actors Guild located? We are at 29th Street between Madison and Fifth Avenue. We are on the second floor of a landmark church. It's a really lovely space with a gabled roof, wooden beams. It is a proscenium setup, and it is small. The maximum capacity of the space, not just the house capacity for audience, the maximum capacity is 65. And we have reopened Guild Hall as a fully vaccinated facility. So what does that mean? You have to show your proof of vaccination at the door. You must be fully vaccinated, not just the first dose. We are also requiring that masks be worn if you are not the performer on stage while you're at Guild Hall. We have open stage, which we have a winter, a January, February grant period, and a summer, July, August grant period, where we select out of applicants 2 companies, one for winter, one for summer, who will have 6 weeks of time in Guild Hall to develop, devise, rehearse a piece of their choosing. We are particularly interested in companies that are emerging and doing exciting new work. And then at the end of their grant period, they do 4 to 8 ticketed public performances of their piece, whether it's a reading or a full-on production. And then the company and the guild split 50-50 the proceeds from those performances with the Guild's portion going straight back into our charitable program.
So the upfront, there's no rental fee for them to use.
There is zero rental fee. If you need extra hours beyond what we are able to offer through the grant, you can rent those at our member rate, which is only $60 an hour.
So I also want to clarify, you said that it has to be a company that applies.
It is. This one is geared toward a company, just because we recognize how much work goes into producing something. So it doesn't mean you self-producers can't do it. We just need to know that you can handle producing, because we can help you with some marketing and a space, but it really is up to you to produce your show.
And Jane Dubin wants to know how you apply for a space grant.
We will open up, I believe we said in January of 2022, we will announce that the application is open. It is a pretty simple application on our website. Our website is actorsguild.org. We will announce it in our email blast and on our Facebook page when it opens. I believe we're having to post-pandemic kind of remember and reconfigure a little bit, but we'll keep the application period open for about a month. And then we have a committee that goes through them, and we will bring in the finalists for in-person interviews, perhaps Zoom interviews.
So you said that it's a proscenium setup. So how big is the stage? Do you happen to know?
It is about 11 feet deep and about 19 feet wide.
You could do a lot on that.
You can do a lot. There is a gabled roof, so you do lose a little playable space off to the side. There is no pass-through. There is a little backstage.
Well, there can be a pass-through if somebody's
if somebody wants
got the
to
skills.
Yes, if somebody wants to do it, you could put folding screens up. We even had one of our grantees put up a flat.
Do people mostly do readings, or do people try to do
we've had
showcases?
Full shows. We've even had a show approved for a solo piece approved for a transition contract through Equity with the bathroom writer.
Well, that's very important. That means that Equity will approve your space.
Equity pre-pandemic has approved our space for transition contract shows.
That's always an issue.
I know that it's a lot more strict these days, but we have done everything that we're supposed to do. We have a commercial HEPA unit in, we have the upper room UVC, we have the CO2 monitor. So we're doing everything that we can in our space. And if anyone is ever interested in doing a walkthrough, if they think the Guild might be the right space for them, there's a contact form on our website. You'll see rent our space. There's a contact form. Shoot us an email. We'll be happy to schedule a time to show you the space in person.
Maybe we could talk about doing live panels with you.
That would be lovely. Please, Bob, reach out to us. And
so that's
so we have that. We also do something called the Barber Playwrights Award, where we partner with a theater company, playwriting collective. We've even partnered with Hunter College in one of our early years with their playwriting program to stage 3 staged readings of 3 new works by 3 different playwrights. And one of them wins a $500 cash award. It's a really exciting way for us to meet new playwrights, to meet new cast, to meet new directors, get people involved in the Guild. It used to happen in March. Last year, we had just started the Playwrights Award. We had just had the first of the 3 readings when everything shut down, and we were in contact with our partnering company all through the pandemic. And finally, we partnered with them again this year, and we did Zoom readings in June, and it was terrific. They were able to have casts from all over the country for their readings, and it's a really exciting opportunity for playwrights. Unfortunately, we cannot partner with individual playwrights. Again, you do have to be part of a company because the company is choosing our 3 finalists from their roster of playwrights. So that is something that the Barber Committee will start looking at early next year as well.
So when you say it's a company, does it have to be a producing company? Can it be a playwrights company like the Playwrights
Oh yeah,
collective of some sort?
100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
So many thoughts that I had.
I see Fran Handman is reminding me in the chat here. Thank you, Fran. We have a nice rep lighting plot. We have a good sound system. We have a projector. We have a projector screen. We've had screenings of movies there. We do. So yeah, it's a lovely little space that can do a lot for.
How's your Wi-Fi?
The Wi-Fi is pretty good. I mean, as good as anybody's Spectrum Wi-Fi is, you know.
Okay. All right, just thought I'd ask.
It's a good question. It's a good question.
I want to open up the conversation to the room. I always like it to be interactive. It's like pulling teeth, getting people to ask questions. But nevertheless, I'm going to start pulling the teeth. Everybody, do you know that you have the reactions? What do you call it? It's a thing at the reactions thing at the bottom of your screen. It's between breakout rooms and more, and it's near end where you can leave the meeting. So if you open up reactions and raise your hand, we can take questions and we can have conversation with you guys. So okay, we have Sam Berland. So Sam, what would you like to ask?
Hi Sam, nice to see you again.
Hi, I'm actually going to be doing Fran's play at the church.
Yeah.
So we scouted out the place and I offered to help out with things if it needed any additional help.
When you say you're going to do it, are you going to be recording it for her? Are you going to be
Yes.
Are you streaming it?
And streaming at the same time.
Okay, so you see, oh, it's good. That was actually my real question to you about the space in terms of, because true, when we go back live, which is going to be one of these months, we want to be able to do a live panel with a simultaneous stream.
We are very interested in that. It is something, since we have literally just in the past couple of weeks reopened our space at all. We are interested in exploring it. We haven't done it yet. Fran's show, and with you guys' help, Jeff and Sam, not Jeff, Jay, you will be our guinea pigs for this. And how does it work? What equipment do we need to make it happen? We haven't tried it yet, but we are very interested in that possibility because there has been a lot of interest in streaming.
Okay, so Sam wants to say something else, and then we're going to go to Jeff, and then we're going to go to Dave Lefkowitz.
I'm actually bringing in a shotgun mic with boom mic to hang over the stage for additional audio, and I just got a bracket and the clamps to mount it on the ceiling on your lighting grid, so we can aim it down. Because this way you can stand in front of it and don't have to worry about hand holding a microphone.
Good. I'm excited to see how that sounds. Like Rebecca
Me
said, it'll be the
too.
first time.
Yeah, the first time. This is all a test.
Yeah.
And also I'm going to be recording out of the mixing board additional audio besides the microphones that are on the cameras, so we can pick up the audience sound and a direct feed from the performers on stage.
So there's levels of interest in asking questions. First, they get the hand raised, and then we have people coming in video, which is fine. But Dave, just give us a second, because Jeff, I think, wants to contribute to this specific conversation because he's involved in it.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Rebecca and Jamie, we're actually testing it out on Tuesday. So if you guys want to pop up that evening.
I'll be the person manning your rental that evening, but just for that reason, because I wanted to see how it works, and I knew there would be a lot of tech questions.
So we'll have a full report next week for everybody.
Thanks, Jeff.
Do you know that West 29th Street is a happening street for small theaters? We've got Polaris North that we use. Actors Theater Workshop we used to use all the time, and I got contacted by them. They're interested in us coming back, and I'm so happy I moved to 27th Street because it's so near any place I might do a panel. Dave Lefkowitz, hello.
Greetings. Can you hear me?
Hi.
Yes.
Good to
Hello.
see you, David.
Hear you like you're right in the room.
Hello, welcome everybody. And hey, just wanted to give a shout out to Rebecca because I think I was one of the first people in there about 2 weeks
You
ago.
were the second renter in the space since
So,
the pandemic.
yeah, and I was going to do a live thing with an audience for Shalom Damage, an evening with Rabbi Saul Solomon, the music with comedy that we've been doing. Realized it was not ready to brave Delta and deal with that. So we just shot some camera footage there for our promo reel, and Rebecca was absolutely great, and I just love the space. It's so cozy. It's so it just felt right. I walked in, I was like, oh yeah, I'm home.
So I have a question for you, Dave. I understand that the capacity is 65 for the room itself, which would include cast and audience and staff. So how many people did you have your chairs set up for? By the way, is it chairs or is it permanent seats?
It is folding chairs, but they have a nice 3-inch pad of foam on them. So they're the most comfortable folding chairs we could find. We did a fundraising campaign a couple of years back, and thank you to the people here who donated for those chairs.
Okay, so how many people did you have in your presentation?
Well, that was the thing. We decided not to do a presentation because I just wasn't ready to deal with people. So we just had a camera person, my pianist, accompanist, and me. But still, I mean, we set it up. We did it there. They were wonderful. It was a little warm in the place. They turned down the AC. I can't say enough good things about the experience we had at EAG 2 weeks ago. That's all I wanted to say. So
okay.
Thanks,
I have a
David.
feeling, Walter, instead of raising your hand, you're here to ask a question. Hey, Walter.
Yeah, I'd love to ask the question, yes.
Okay, go for it.
Okay, good. Congratulations on the work you guys are doing. It's so fantastic. Listen, I just have a sliver of a question, and this is something outside of what you do, but I'm wondering if you have a connection to it. And all I wanted to say is that, first of all, it starts with an absolutely fantastic relationship with the Episcopalian Church, because in Boston, we developed a work using their space at the Boston Cathedral, and then we did work at St. Mark's at East 10th Street, and then my work was done in Nymph at the one on 46th Street, St. Clement's.
St. Clement's, yes.
So the Episcopal Church has been an amazing part of my work. But here's the pitch line: not affecting your money, taking that away from well-deserved people. I'm just wondering if you have any contact to those very courageous Episcopalians who are looking to give reparations money in the arts to Black projects, because my musical is
There's a very specific question and a very controversial one. Congratulations, Walter.
Okay,
let's just leave it at that and find out whether you have any response to that, Rebecca and Jamie.
Okay. I mean, for us, not our funding has to go towards the actors, singers, and dancers. Off the top of my head, I can't recommend a resource, but I bet I could find one. I don't know. Rebecca, do you know of any foundations that might be focusing on that specifically?
I haven't seen anything specifically, but that's a wonderful question, and I will keep an eye out for it.
Yeah.
If you want to shoot me an email, if I find anything, I will let you know, because we're always on the lookout for resources for people.
Yeah,
so Walter, you know the Episcopal Actors Guild, so you have their information, so you're in touch.
I'll email you. Thank you so much.
Great
work. Keep up the great
Which
work.
goes back to a point that we never actually clarified earlier, which is you don't have to be Episcopalian. Give them what your pitch line is on your website about it. Do you remember what you say?
Well, it's for all faiths and none. I'm pulling up our full mission statement right now, so I make sure I get it exactly right. Okay, so the mission of the Episcopal Actors Guild is to provide emergency aid and support to professional performers of all faiths and none who are undergoing financial crisis. We are also dedicated to helping emerging artists advance their careers through scholarships, awards, and performance opportunities.
And Fran Hanman wants us to know that the EAG was started by George Arliss, the Luntz, no less, theater aristocracy. So it was, it's always been a theater-oriented organization.
Yes, some of the people
start.
who were involved in the formation of Equity were also involved in the formation of the Guild.
And if you want to read about our history, it was written by the one and only Fran
Handman, yes.
I'm going to put a link to that because it is super interesting. Our history is kind of incredible, as is Fran's writing, as we all know.
Absolutely. Sue Horowitz asks, can an individual writer partner with a company or bring in the cast for production or reading of EAG? Sue, I'll answer on behalf of them. I don't think it's they don't need to know that you're partnering. But it's the organization that you partner with that will approach them and say, can we
That is correct.
do this?
Yeah, I was trying to type up something. I saw that coming in. Yeah, in theory, find a company, and it's true for the Barber Award and for the Open Stage Grant. Find a company that you want to work with and suggest that they apply for one of these, because we are going to be looking for a partnering company for the Barber Award, and it's hasn't officially changed, and I don't know if it will, but we did it in June this year, and that worked very well for the company and for us in the office at the Guild. Traditionally, it has been in March, but reach out to us, have the company reach out to us early next year. That's something else that we'll announce, that we are looking for a partner. So keep your ear open for that. I will also mention, I know Leslie Middlebrook is here. She is the chair of our events committee, and they are the ones who select the programming for our fundraisers that we do about once a month. And through the pandemic, they've been on Zoom, and we will continue with some of them being on Zoom. We have one coming up on October 4th.
So when you say fundraisers, are they plays? Are they musicals? Are they variety? Are they singers?
It's been a wide variety of things. A lot of play readings. We've had a panel discussion that Margot Astrachan did about reopening Broadway.
It can be anything, just interjecting, sorry.
Yes, no,
Anything,
thank you,
yeah.
Corinne. And I was going to say, we are booked through February 2022, but they are considering things for spring and beyond of next year. So if you're interested, you can always feel free to email us a pitch that I can then get to the committee members for their consideration. And yeah, that's another way that you could get involved.
Let me see if I have the overview correct. You have certain programs that are scheduled for your space. You also have the space available randomly at just available nights. So even if somebody's not applying for one of your specific programs, they could come to you and say, do you have an open Monday night in December
100%.
for us to do a reading?
Yes,
okay.
we do rent out our space.
That might be me saying that to you.
We do rent out our space. It exactly like you described it. On evenings we are not using the space and someone else has not booked it, it is available for rental. It's a reasonable rate, I think. As someone who has produced off myself for my small theater company, I know what the going rates are. I think the Guild is very reasonable. It's $60 an hour for Guild members, and it is $80 an hour for non-members. If you're going to rent for 3 hours or more, it's worth the price of your $45 annual dues to join to get that discount. But yes, we are. It's really exciting, but we're diving into the deep end with our rentals. We just reopened the space. We've already restarted our rentals, and almost every evening and weekend in October is booked. And thanks a lot to NYFA's artist grants that they did. We have a lot of people who found us and are doing their shows through that program at the Guild in October.
One other specific piece of information from Fran Hanman. She suggests that you can anticipate 60 people in the audience as being the capacity. Although
I would say that. So many of the shows that are done are solo or two-handers. And so when you have those two people, a person in the booth and a member of our staff on site, you can count for about 60 people. If you have a large cast, you're going to need to bump that number down a little bit, but yeah.
So again, to the room, do you guys have anything else you want to ask, or any questions or any clarifications that you want? I'm inviting you to talk to us. We love these things to be interactive. We all love it to be interactive, and I'm sure we all run up against the same thing of how do you get people to actually raise their hand and let you know what they want to say?
If you have a question, there's chances good that somebody else here has the same question. So be the brave one and ask the question for all of us.
Janet Conrad.
Hi, Janet.
Janet, do you raise your hand or no? Yeah, unmute yourself. That might help.
Oh, thank you. That helps tremendously. So, I thought I heard Rebecca say that you had a theater company, and I was wondering what the name of it was.
I was going to ask you the same thing.
So as Jamie said at the beginning in the introductions, we both come from performance backgrounds. Jamie and I still act when we can. Jamie more than I right now. And I have a small theater company, Nora's Playhouse. We're a women's theater collective. We're about 10 years old. We don't produce that often, but we do produce. We have a presence here in New York where we were founded, but our founding artistic director is originally from Alabama, which is also where I am from. And she has moved back there with her husband. And so we now have a presence in Montgomery, Alabama, and here in the city. We will be producing, knock on wood, fingers crossed, a play that we have been helping to develop, Martha Pichet's Ashes in Ink, there in Montgomery in October 2022.
Terrific. So I just wanted to say to everybody that for some specifics in terms of community versus community here, or community and community, we're not versus at all. Basically, TRU, our membership is varying, but we're I think we're smaller than you. We only have maybe 300 to 350 paid members, but we serve a community that seems to total a couple thousand. I know that my email list goes to 4,200. I know that not everybody reads my newsletter, but that's about what our size is at this point. You guys are probably bigger than that, right?
Well, we have maybe more paying members than that. Our email list, I think, is smaller though.
We do try to keep the email list tight because we are using MailChimp and don't want to go over that 2,000. So we do try to keep an eye on our list and make sure that it is people who are actually opening and reading our emails for the most part. But we do have a big growing following on Facebook. And then we have our client base who some are members, some are not. So those communities interact.
We may have clarified this already, but just to say it again, you don't have to be an actor to be a member of
you do not. You have to want to celebrate and support actors, but you don't have to be an actor yourself to join. If you are seeking assistance, financial assistance from our food pantry, then you have to be a performer. I got a message. Thank you, Leslie, for reminding me. Our space, we do have a piano in our space that is available.
That was what I was going to ask you before. That's right.
Yes, we do have a piano. We have done cabarets there before. David Lefkowitz recorded his musical when he opted to do that instead of a live reading version of it. So we do have that available. It was recently repaired and tuned. And the city has granted us a new piano 3 years ago. And one day we'll get through all the levels of red tape that it takes to actually get the piano in-house.
Oh, good grief. So we have a hand raised. Tita Antares. Unmute yourself.
sorry about that. I may have missed it, but on the website, I think it says Triangle Stage. What is the difference between that and your theater group?
Triangle is a separate company at a different Episcopal church, I believe. That we do have a relationship. Like Elowen, if she's still
I was
here.
going to say Elowen is the key there.
Yeah, Elowen was the president of the council of our board for many, many years. And she's also, thank you, Elowen. She can speak to Triangle.
Sorry about that.
No, we want you to,
No,
we're
no.
glad you're here. We want you to tell us about Triangle Theater versus Episcopal.
Plug in my earphones before I had them in my ears, so lost that whole last section.
Oh, that's okay. I was just like, we have a great relationship with Triangle, but the Episcopal Actors Guild and Triangle Theater are not the same
Two
company.
totally different things. Yeah.
Well, you're related through Elowen. It's an
Yes.
in-law.
Well,
Yes.
and lots of other people. Dudley Stone was a member of the Episcopal Actors Guild for years and years and years, and did poetry nights and all kinds of things for us. There's been a lot of crossover.
Yes.
Triangle is up at Church of the Holy Trinity. It's been a theater up there for 30 some years at least, and some people say 40 something. Might have been where Jean Dalrymple ran her company. I don't know, but it had a built-in theater until the city stopped funding them in the 80s. And now we build our own risers every time. But yeah, no, there's been a lot of crossover though between the two.
Yeah, there's a lot of crossover, but we are separate, and it's very likely that somewhere on our website it mentions Triangle because there is so much overlap.
Oh, I'm sure from several people. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have
Actors,
actually a
sure.
question that occurs to me about your space. You said there's no crossover, but do you have wing space at all?
No.
So where do
We
people?
have, when you enter if I'm in the house looking at the stage, there is a door to a fire escape off house left and off house right. There is we call it the back office, the green room, the dressing room. There's a little area off stage, but there really isn't wing space.
So Elowen, I'm sure you've directed in the space, right?
Yeah. It's a small theater, you know.
So you have to really think through how you're going to do entrances and exits.
You do.
Yes, people use the little room, people use the center aisle, people use the side room, the side office, and climb over audience members and things and get to the stage. And,
Audience members love that.
It's a large open space above a church chapel that has been used for theater and had a stage built at one end of it, which is actually next to the choir part of the church, which is a little bizarre if you take that back wall down, but we won't go there. And essentially has been turned into a theater, but it is just the size of the room. The room is 5 feet across or something like that.
Yeah, it's about 25 by about, yeah.
It's an open space.
And it's 11 by 19 on the stage itself.
About,
Something
yeah,
like
and,
that,
and
yeah.
the dimensions are, thank you for dropping that in the chat. Yeah, the dimensions of the approximate dimensions of the stage are on the website under Rent Our Space.
Okay, so
Yeah.
so in many ways, this has been a very fruitful conversation on many levels. We get to talk about communities. We got to talk about a little bit about what you guys do, and we also are offering an option for people that are willing to take the risk. Dare I say risk? Risk I dare say, and start doing live presentations. Now, admittedly, just to reiterate, you don't have a lot of open evenings between now and I don't know when.
Between now and the end of October, we have almost nothing available.
That's okay.
But the November, December, we have a little availability. Once we hit 2022, there's a lot of availability. So please reach out and let us know. I'm trying to think of other things to tell you.
Well,
we don't have a lobby.
Do you have a venue requirement of people being vaccinated to come in, or
Yes,
okay.
we are across the board. You have to be fully vaccinated to enter Guildhall. So that is audience, crew, volunteers.
I'm going to have to ask you this, but who on your staff is responsible for making sure that everybody there is vaccinated?
When it is, we are still on a hybrid schedule, working some at home, some at the office. We just, well, hello, Fran.
Hi, Fran.
Hi,
So,
Rebecca.
Fran, you've joined us on stage. Did you want to ask a question?
We just are bringing a couple of new people on board to help us through the end of the year, while one of the people who normally helped us cover rentals is on a little bit of a sabbatical. So we have a staff member who will be on site for each rental, who is not running the board for you, is not running your box office, but will be manning the door downstairs to check the proof of vaccination and check the IDs, check to make sure you're wearing a face mask, and then we'll send you upstairs to Guildhall. No lobby, no elevator, but we do have a stair chair to help people with limited mobility get up those 20 steps.
That's very good information. Thank you.
I've been answering these questions a lot as we've been booking up of all of our October dates. So I'm trying to run through my checklist in my head. What other questions do people have? Leslie has her hand up.
Yes, Leslie. My former neighbor. We used to live near each other.
Actually, it's not a question. I sent it to you, Bob. There are some, I believe I'm right, some very good pictures of Guildhall on the website for rental purpose. So all of these questions you were asking about, what does it look like? It's all there, right, Rebecca?
There is a really great picture there. The space has changed a little, not a huge amount, but a little bit in the years since that photo was taken. And we are working on getting
So haven't we all?
updated photo, but there is.
But it gives a very good idea of the stage space, the lighting.
100%. Yes. Yes.
And
I think someone shared the link in the chat, but I will share it again.
Okay.
Hi, Margot.
Okay, Margot, and then RK, and then we're gonna close up. Actually, we're gonna have breakout rooms if you guys can stay and meet people.
What I wanted to say is that having done readings there, presented things, done programs, there's something about that room that suddenly it becomes professional. It's the way the audience is set up, and the stage has enough height to it, even though it's not, that the separation somehow magically occurs, and the piano is very good.
Mm-hmm.
And particularly if you're doing something where you want to do a talk back after, it's terrific for that. And there is stage lighting, so you can get, a sense of separation. I find it a very good space to do presentations in. That's what I wanted to tell you.
Thank you, Margot. Yeah, I love it too. And in my company, Norris Playhouse, we've done several readings at the Guild, renting out the space. And it's exactly like you described. With the stage lighting, you do have that lovely separation. And it is really terrific if you want to get feedback from your audience afterwards.
And there, people can make an entrance because the actual offices are off to the side, and it becomes a green room and people can wait in there. So if you're doing a play and you want entrances and exits, you actually can do that.
It is possible. I wouldn't recommend a cast of thousands doing but for a smaller, yes, I know for a fact we've had shows with 8 people standing in close quarters, but 8 people in that back room waiting to make their entrance. So it's possible.
One last question. We have RK Green, and then I'm going to say a few words.
Well, hopefully there will be good words. Thank you. So I just wanted to know if you had any associations with other, I guess, religious sponsored theater groups like the Fifth Avenue Theater Group or the Actors Temple, and had any associations working in that area.
We do. I'm sure that there, again, similar to Triangle, that there is overlap between people who are working in those spaces and work with us, but we are not affiliated with them. It really is of all faiths and none, and we're a non-sectarian 501c3. So we have a very close relationship to the little church downstairs. The warden of the guild is the rector of the church. Yes, it's a title in our bylaws from 1923.
Good Lord, the warden of the guild.
Yes, Father
Isn't
John
that
David Van Doren.
that's a Gilbert and Sullivan operetta, isn't it?
It should be. But we have a very close relationship with the little church, but are not affiliated directly with them. And as far as I know, and I don't know that you know anything differently, Jamie, I don't think we are affiliated with Actors Temple or any of the others.
Okay. Well, I've been going to the to your Actors Guild area, I guess, theater for a number of times. I think the most recent one was Jessica Scher, who did her one-woman show there on Betty Davis. And then I think I was introduced to it years ago by a director that maybe some people remember by the name of Walter Scholes, who's just a dear fellow. Anyway, but thank you very much for joining us today.
Oh, thank you for having us. And I'm so glad you're familiar with the space and got to see Betty Davis Ain't for Sissies when Jessica was doing that.
Another masterclass graduate.
Yeah.
I just want to say to everybody, I want to, thank the community for being here. Thank the EHU community as well as the EG and the TRU, the EHE and the TRU. Thank you all for being with us and being part of our communities, and hopefully you'll continue being part of both communities. I want to remind writers that we are open now for submissions. It's a very small window for another 2 weeks, I think, for How to Write a Musical That Works, which is our 3-part musical workshop with feedback from some top industry pros. Then we're also opening now for submissions for a writer-producer speed date, which I think most of you know about. It's just going to be the 24th. How to Write a Musical is October 17th. Speed date is October 24th. We're also opening for submissions for small, short pieces for our True Speak benefit, which is going to be in 2022, date to be announced. And this weekend on Sunday, we have Essentials of Successful Self-Producing. It's a great workshop. I've got some terrific speakers coming. They're really smart and inspiring people. So be part of TRU, all of you. And thank you to my YouTube viewers out there. I invite you also to be part of TRU. And if you want to see and be part of our weekly gathering without seeing it on YouTube, actually being there in the room with us, please email me at trunltd@aol.com, and we'll put you on the Zoom list. Put Zoom in your subject line. Be clever and make me laugh. Do something with Zoom that makes me laugh. And the other thing is, everyone, although we have been doing this for Pay What You Can, and Pay What You Can does include nothing, we do need to start raising a little bit more money now. It's slowed down in the past couple months. We're still strong, but I just want everybody to be aware that we have to have some income coming in order for us to continue doing everything that we do. So that's TRU Donate, TRU Donate, trudonate.com, trudonate.com. That's the easy link. There's a longer link, but I don't have to trouble you with that right now.